where OJ caught her giving a head job to somebody on the couch, having sex with somebody on the couch, and the witnesses all say he was mad, but in the lines of, don't you know that the kids could come down and catch you? Why don't you deal with somebody who's not so broke they don't have an apartment or a hotel or a motel? If you need it, goddammit, I'll give you the money, just don't spend it on drugs. Furman lives 28 miles away. He's off duty, but for some reason, he comes to the scene 5 minutes after the murder occurs. He also was subject to testimony that he had been over to visit Nicole at least 11 times, and he was trying to talk to her, date her. There was also evidence that the jury here heard that, by the way, Nancy Grace said nothing about a wound on something like a finger. That's the sample that has 96,000 other people in LA County that could have donated it, and it definitely wasn't OJ. But his story is he finds it under a half foot of leaves deep inside OJ's backyard after he climbs the fence. Testified he found the size X glove that fits him, that does not fit OJ.
So, peace and blessings to the tribe. Y'all like, share, and subscribe. Just know, man, I brought y'all some more premium black Negro news, man. And right here today, we got Judge Joe Brown talking about the O.J. Simpson case and the facts that he knows about the O.J. case that wasn't really released to the public. So, we're going to get into that news, and then I'm going to give y'all my commentary after the video. But remember, they said it, now we speaking on it. I'm Mr. Telescope, and you are now watching Telescope Channel. Telescope, come.
And I'd listened to it. I said, wait a minute, what is she talking about? It doesn't get any better than that. The impound lot guy has just testified that he and his buddies went through the Bronco. There wasn't a drop of blood in it. They went through it with a fine-tooth comb. It was locked in a special enclosure that had 4 padlocks. They didn't have the keys to them, only the detectives did. They were instructed to tow the car down to the crime lab 11 days later, and now it's full of blood. Where did the blood come from? All right? So that DNA evidence against OJ is devastating. And when I listened to what the expert said, he said, this is not OJ. First off, this is someone similar. But there are approximately 96,000 people in LA County that would match this DNA profile, which, by the way, and this is interesting, reflects someone from Northeast Mediterranean ancestry or perhaps from the island of Sicily. We also get something that didn't pick up in newspapers or television. They had 2 people who were testifying remotely in the Federal Witness Protection Program who dated Nicole's sisters. Their testimony was that it was a message to them to keep silent or their girlfriends, Nicole's sisters, would get exterminated. So where were they from? That hypothetical organization that's got contacts with Sicily. Now, it just happens that I know personally the guy that made the gloves. I know personally, in fact, he was my brother, the person that was the expert knife killing that the prosecution called. Now, let's start with the glove. This person told me out his own mouth, and so did Johnny Cochran, they took a tracing of everybody's hand. OJ is a big dude. I knew him personally from college. And he wore a size, not XL, but 2XL. The glove was a size L, so they knew it wasn't gonna fit. But guess who wore a size L? Furman. Guess who found the glove? Furman. Under a half foot of dead leaves, 75 feet into OJ's dark backyard, supposedly. All right? Now, my brother, who did not testify in front of the jury, when he was asked to assess the knife killing, he said, first off, OJ is a right-handed guy. Whoever did this killing is a left-handed person. Said each of the victims, Nicole and Goldman, were struck by a fatal blow with a knife turned sideways that slid in next to the central cartilage and the rib cage that tore up the aorta and upper 2 chambers of the heart. Then their throats were slit ear to ear. and somebody used some pliers to pull their tongues out through the slit throat. That's called a Colombian necktie. And meanwhile, in the blood, when they took him out on the scene, since he dealt with this kind of forensics, he says there's somebody that has a size 9 shoe and somebody that wore a size 10.5 shoe that's leaving tracks. OJ wears a size 12. And the blood that they supposedly say they found because somebody got a slight wound on something like a finger, that's the sample that has 96,000 other people in LA County that could have donated it. And it definitely wasn't OJ, but Nancy Grace said it was. Now, the problem was also this, planting evidence. The jury saw this, and Cochran brilliantly used it in final argument, a split screen. There had been so many instances where people were accusing LAPD of coming in and stealing from upscale homes that they had a security squad that would be sent in to video a scene before the crime scene detectives started their work so you could see what was in there. Well, 1:14 on the clock in the video, you can see them video the foot of the bed. There are no bloody socks. There are no socks. The foot of the bed. There are no bloody socks. There are no socks in there at all. It's well lit. About 5 minutes later, you can hear this, "Sir, who are you?" And you can hear somebody who is identifying himself as Detective Furman, and they tell him he has to leave immediately. The jury saw this. Cochran is arguing from this at final argument. A few minutes later, "Sir, didn't we tell you you had to leave? Detective Furman, isn't it?" "Yes, sir. You got to go out of here right now." And they pan the camera around, and where is Furman? You can see through 2 doors into the bedroom. Furman is standing right there at the foot of the bed. 35 minutes later, when crime scene's in there, right where you saw at 1:14, no socks at all, completely clear, right where you later saw Furman, you see now bloody socks. Now what's the inference? Furman planted the bloody socks. You find that Furman has testified he found the size X glove that fits him, that does not fit OJ, but his story is he finds it under a half foot of leaves deep inside OJ's backyard after he climbs the fence. Furman lives 28 miles away. He's off duty, but for some reason, he comes to the scene 5 minutes after the murder occurs. He also was subject to testimony that he had been over to visit Nicole at least 11 times, and he was trying to talk to her, date her. There was also evidence that the jury here heard that, by the way, Nancy Grace said nothing about, where OJ caught her giving a head job to somebody on the couch, having sex with somebody on the couch, and the witnesses all say he was mad, but in the lines of, "Don't you know that the kids could come down and catch you? Why don't you deal with somebody who's not so broke they don't have an apartment or a hotel or a motel? If you need it, goddammit, I'll give you the money, just don't spend it on drugs."
So, peace and blessings to the tribe. Y'all like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you get in that comment section and tell me what you think about this content. First off, I want to salute the Art of Dialogue. This is where I got the content from. It's a 16-minute part clip of the interview. You guys should go to Art of Dialogue and go check that out, man. This was definitely used for educational and fair use purposes. So, yeah, man, they said it. Now we speaking on it. You know what I'm saying? I'm Mr. Telescope, so, I got to chime in. But it was a lot of things that the judge pointed out. Salute to the judge too, man. Like, I just love his content. I love when he was with Dana. I don't know if he still do that. And I love this show. I love what he represent. You know, the masculine man, the alpha black man at that. And he's really for helping our people. You know what I'm saying? And elevating us to the next level. It's a lot of things that he spoke on that had me wondering, like, this is a crazy ass case. And then not only that, they was really like, OJ was big. Like, OJ was that dude. Like, OJ was pretty much like LeBron before LeBron. Like, he was the juice. Everybody, you know what I'm saying? Everybody wanted to be around the juice. It's like all these females and all these guys, they turn their stands and they want to be around LeBron too. You know what I'm saying? Like, some of these dudes would cry if they got around LeBron. Like, seriously, like, they probably would cry if they got around LeBron, And he made the argument that really stood out to me, that the detective with the socks and all, like, this detective foreman, I've heard this, actually, I've actually heard this rhetoric, or this, so to speak, this talking point from Tariq as well, and a couple other, people in the black conscious space of YouTube when the OJ case was big and he passed away and everybody was talking about it. I kind of heard, just whispers of, like, they dirty up his case, they try to dirty his name, and it was a dirty detective. And actually, if you go and watch that full video, there are actually four detectives that were arrested because they were planting drugs on people and doing things of that sort, pretty much like going against their oath and going against the code that they signed up for. But nevertheless, the judge was snapping, man. I'm talking about, like, just so many jewels was dropped in this clip, in this interview. In the 16 minutes, I only gave y'all about 7 minutes of it, and it's sped up, but it's 16 minutes of it. And I mean, when I say it is immaculate, it's a wonderful clip of an interview. It's probably one of the best clips, I think, but aside from him talking about Kamala Harris. It's probably one of the best clips that's on there as far as that interview goes. I don't know if he's gonna release it anymore, but salute to the brother Art Dialogue once again, man. I watched this brother platform go up from ground zero to the moon. You know what I'm saying? And I believe he's an FBA brother. Comes off as such. You can kind of tell you come from the islands. But what stood out to me too is the whole Colombian necktie and the blood type. Matching 90,000 people that's in LA County. You know what I'm saying? And them taking that sample and saying that it was OJ is crazy. On top of that, what's even more crazy is I believe OJ is FBA as well. And I don't really see an FBA brother doing no Colombian necktie. Like, I've never been around no shit like that anyways, but I just can't visualize a FBA brother doing no Colombian necktie. Like, that's like some island, that's like some island stuff, man. Like, foundational black Americans and people that's like black folks that's born over here in America is like very squeamish. Like, they don't like blood like that, and dealing with nasty stuff like that, and that's disgusting. So to have somebody get some grip pliers, slit the throat, pull the tongue through the throat, and that's just like way too dedicated to it. And I don't think that OJ had that in him to do that to that woman, let alone him being with his daughter, or I think it was like some type of ceremony or something like that he was with his daughter at, and then he had to come way back home to, I guess, handle that, delete Nicole and her lover or whatever, which I doubt. A lot of people have said this as well. Nicole was heavily into drugs, so it's not really, to me, honestly, in the mafia, or the mob, whatever you want to call them, those people that be, it's a lot of them out there in California, Las Vegas, stuff like that. Like, that's really where they reside at, like Las Vegas, California, New York, And I don't think it's too far-fetched that the mob probably had their hands on that. You know what I'm saying? Knowing whose wife she was, or just OJ Simpson's wife, and knowing that she has some type of gripe that she's trying to fight or whatever. I can see them giving her fronts and she don't pay back the debt, and then they come and offer. I can see that happening. Just like Judge said, some people in the feds had kind of like was supposed to testify that was them doing that to Nicole was a message. So to let them know, like, to let Nicole's sister know, like, hey, look what we did to your sister. If you don't pay us our money or come do what we need you to do, we gonna do the same thing to you. Pretty much like sending like a message or a threat. So that's another alibi or another, premises of this whole case. But man, this case is gonna go on for years. I believe later on down the line we will find out the truth and what really happened, maybe 10 years from now even. But this case has been going on since, I'm believing, the 80s, late 80s, early 90s. And I mean, the judge is a beast, man. The judge had I heard him talk about his brother, the knife guy, the guy that's like pretty much can kill people with knives, and he's like pretty much damn near like a American legend. He's a damn near assassin. And dude testified and said, like, you know, the whole science behind the person having a being left-handed versus, you know, OJ being right-handed, it couldn't have been him because the person was left-handed that did these cut-ins. And this is an expert knifeman or somebody that's good with a knife. And he's very credible because obviously if the judge is mentioning him, he's definitely very credible. He has friends in high places and stuff like that, and he served. That was real interesting to me. Y'all tell me what y'all think about that in the comments. Yeah, it was just a couple of things. Like, it's so much stuff that the judge said, like so many gems and jewels that he dropped. I'm just trying to go over all of them, but it was a lot of stuff that was dropped in that case, and that's what made me think that, you know, OJ was really innocent. And even as far as to go to push everybody's buttons, like once he got found innocent, he wrote the book, if I did it, this is how I would have did it. You know what I'm saying? And shortly after that, I believe he was arrested for stealing his own Heisman trophy, which was crazy. Like, this is mine, I won it, so you gonna arrest me and go to jail for all these years just for stealing a trophy? That's crazy. And then the trophy was his. Like, if you thinking about ideal players who actually deserved a Heisman trophy, OJ Simpson is most definitely, hands down, one of those people. And not even to be like, you know, meat rotting or whatever you want to call it. You know what I'm saying? Pause. But it's just like, I'm for what's right. What's right is right, what's wrong is wrong. Yeah, y'all probably didn't like the brother because he was cocky, arrogant, he had money, and he was black, of course. But for the same token, if the brother did it, he deserved to get every bit of time that, you know what I'm saying, for doing a heinous crime like that. If not, then I feel like the brother should be vindicated, that shit should be let go, and motherfuckers shouldn't be talking about that in his deathbed. Like, you don't see them talking about, what's the dude name that overdosed? I think his name Robert Harris. What's the dude name? I forgot the dude name, man. He played in Miss Doubtfire and stuff like that. Or even Tim Allen. Tim Allen had drug allegations against him, been to prison, got pretty much thrown right into showbiz right after, I believe right after getting out of prison or right before. But if he did it before, or if he did it after, it doesn't really matter. He still went to prison. You know what I'm saying? And it's not wrong with going to prison, but it's just, like, I just feel like those same opportunities and those same doors would have never been open for a brother of color. You know what I'm saying? After, you know, going to prison and stuff like that. I mean, this dude played, I mean, growing up, I remember watching Tim Allen in Santa Claus. He was in Home Improvement. You know, and these brothers was like on drugs heavy. Like, I think Tim Allen actually went to prison for selling drugs. So, like, who's to say that he still didn't have those connections and he was plugging people in that's in Hollywood, you know what I'm saying, at the same time while being in the big screen. So that's crazy within itself. You got Robert Downey Jr., you know what I'm saying? I'm talking about a bunch of elites. I don't want to get my page knocked, but I'm just saying, you know, this dude had a drug addiction and stuff like that. They even Terrence Howard spoke about this. They brought him back and then didn't bring Terrence Howard back for the right amount of money. He complained about his pay. They got rid of him. So that's something that we can look into. I'm not gonna lie, man. I think that OJ, I'm not gonna say framed, but I do think that OJ was going through something to where it was like he was trying to, you know, just vindicate his name. And even when he died, after his death and stuff like that, you know, you still got people talking about him. You know what I'm saying? And I just feel like they don't do that to, I mean, I don't want to make it a color thing, but I just feel like they don't do that to white people when they die or something happens or whatever. And they known as somebody renowned. Like, OJ was a hero to a lot of black people. You know what I'm saying? So for that to happen and go down, I just feel like it was distasteful or whatever. But y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. Now make sure y'all like this video, hit that like button, ding. Make sure y'all hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you can be notified every time I drop a video. I appreciate y'all watching. And remember, man, they said it, now we speaking on it. I'm Mr. Telescope, and you are now watching Telescope Channel. Telescope Go.
Telescope, bro. I like you, young nigga. I like you.
Yeah, they running this channel through the ground. Nigga, channel ain't popping like how it would. They got a manager talking about $500.
Man, you hold on.
Peace and Black Power family, what's happening?
Salute, Sauce.
See, you got that motherfucking light in the background and shit. Y'all know the Telescope channel? Neighborhood show, you know the Telescope channel?
the Telescope channel. Shout out to you, man. Hit that like button. Y'all niggas get to class.
Don't listen to the Telescope channel. He's a fool. Let him die by himself.
Subscribe to Telescope channel. You got a lot of if you like to get into intellectual shit as well, he got a lot of dope content. You know what I mean? Check his channel out. He opened he asks a lot of deeper questions, a lot of, how you call it? He opens discussions. He make that type of content.